Okay. Good morning again. I forgot to cover a major point as far as the FBI's involvement in the Kennedy assassination, or perhaps I should be saying J. Edgar Hoover's involvement. We got the number 31 witnesses from a couple of sources. One was that was the number of witnesses that mysteriously died. Eyewitnesses, 31 of them, each individually murdered. We, so we have that's occurred historically. The other thing is that it was on a Jeff Rentz show with, I think it's David Hall Oates. That's probably the right name. Not the right name, but the fellow from Australia who does the reverse speech analyses. It was in his analyses that J. Edgar Hoover was discerned to have said in the reverse speech, which is alleged to be the truthful speaking, is that it killed them all 31 of the eyewitnesses. Thereby, J. Edgar Hoover covered up the Kennedy assassination and made it much harder for us to solve. So that's another reason why I think that we should get rid of the FBI. You will say, well, what will we do instead? We need to go back to our original militias, and the militias need to back whoever's right within a state. There were state militias and private militias. We need to go back to that and be self-ruling. It means we have to have armed men. It means we have to have men in good standing. We can do this. The FBI will never do it. It's organized crime at the highest levels. They keep doing weird stuff. They were involved in. They did the Oklahoma. Well, they made the Oklahoma City bombing happen. They were involved in the World Trade Center first bombing. They gave the bomb. They set that whole damn thing up. They were involved in the attempted, kidnapping of Governor Whitmer in Michigan. I mean, and the other thing I've discovered is that there are FBI infiltrators in all of these extremist fringe groups, including the ones that I've hung out with and been around. Is I always had an FBI agent there. And it's my summation that the FBI is involved in the extreme groups, trying to manipulate them to causing more problems so that they have a reason to exist and they can crack down on us. I believe that they've actually controlled the heads of many of these agencies, if you will, or organizations. It's just horrible. I just think that they're just not to be trusted. They cannot be trusted. And I would like to see them actually taken down by our military and done in a fashion in which the records are preserved and all of the agents are, of course, preserved. And from there, I think we need to debrief the agents, and we need to go through the records, and we need to make that stuff public as to what they've done to harm this republic. Certainly, they're responsible for putting this errant jackass into office that we have today. And I think we can come out of this okay. But again, I urge you to love truth and justice. Realize that J. Edgar Hoover himself, in his reverse speech, admitted he killed all 31 of the eyewitnesses. So that saying is one hand washes the other. Well, in this case, the CIA did the hit while the FBI did the cover-up. So I advocate for taking the FBI into custody, preserving their records, and debriefing all of the current agents and those who are retired, and making a determination agent by agent. Did you live up to your oath, or did you act against your oath? Who ordered you to those actions? I think that we really need to do that. I think that you better be prepared, because they're just not a good agency. They haven't been a good agency. They were created at the same time our Federal Reserve was, and they were created at the same time as the Anti-Defamation was created, which their number one job is to defame people. All of these things work to take us down, especially the false money system they put on us. So much gold, so much wealth in the world that everybody can have some. But instead, we've got a bunch of jackasses who decide they had to remain in power. So they did all this subterfuge, and this professional political class, a bunch of leeches, needs to be dealt with as well. So that's one reason why we need our militias. The others are that they brought on all these men of fighting age to our nation and settled them here among us to cause trouble. And they're letting the criminals out so the criminals can cause trouble as well. So we don't have much of a choice. If we want to live, we have to defend ourselves. And of course, our politicians are willing to give full battle rifles to anybody who wants one around the world. But an American cannot have one to this date. I don't have one. Not allowed to have one. And we're supposed to be free? I don't think so. And I really hate this NFA and the short-barreled rifle, short-barreled shotgun stuff. How do you defend that when historically the stagecoach was defended by a short-barreled shotgun? Remember that term, riding shotgun? Well, the shotgun was so ineffective at range, they mocked it. It was only good for shooting a guy off a horse that was trying to board a stagecoach. So it was a shot-off double-barreled 12-gauge shotgun loaded up with double-aught buck. And I'm going to bet you that barrel was 14 inches or less, designed to let that shot expand completely right next to the stagecoach with the hopes of being able to defend it. So with a history like that, how can they make short-barreled shotguns and short-barreled rifles illegal? Do you realize that this is the only nation that has such things? Every other nation, they get the short-barreled, the original design stuff, but not here. They have to downgrade us every way they can. Our education's downgraded, our food's downgraded, our medical stuff's downgraded, our gasoline, our fuel, our diesel, everything is downgraded, including, the hardware, the armaments we're allowed to have. Those are downgraded too. So much for living in the land of the free, the home of the brave. Remember, the FBI facilitated and covered up the Kennedy assassination and failed to solve it. And that right there is enough to take the whole organization down. And I think it's bad from the top down. I don't think there are any good FBI agents. And how do I say that? Why do I say that? Because if there were any good FBI agents, by their oath of office, their oath to defend the Constitution, they'd be required to speak up and bust those jackasses above them that they saw committing all these crimes. And I don't see one of them doing that. I don't see a single good FBI agent. Do you?